weird thing like that. She's just like, what do you need from me? And potentially like equip our children too. So I love it here. I'm like, this is what it's about.
Marriage should be like a lease, like a 7-year lease. At the end of the 7 years, you decide whether you want to renew it or not.
Oh my God. What a difference in Meet the Parents scenarios. You can see one is a very functional family unit that loves and supports their child and is teaching their child or is sort of helping their child grow up to become a productive member of society, a positive member. And then you have another father who's busy telling his child that, you know, marriage should be renewed every 4 years. And you sort of wonder why. What is the purpose of this conversation? Is this why his daughter's view on marriage is so skewed? Or is there something else? Oh my God. And I like the moment where Mel is sort of speaking about Lexi and you see the pride in her father, the way he sits up, the way he's impressed by how Mel is speaking life into his daughter, how Mel is speaking about his daughter's character in a positive light. Oh my God, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. In this episode, I'll be reviewing The Ultimatum Queer Love, Season 1, Episode 5 and 6. If you're new to my channel, please leave a like, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. So I'll discuss the couples as they are, and then when they go back to their partners that they came in to the experiment with. So you have Yoli and Xander meeting up after the group meetup and sort of having a conversation about the tension that was there. And Xander is still very sort of protective of Vanessa. And it's like, yes, you do love this person, but you might have a blind spot. And it's important that you listen to everybody else and listen to their opinions of what they're saying instead of just continuing to turn a blind eye and pretend like you can't see exactly what's going on with your partner that you came into the experiment. I'm surprised that nobody brought up the fact that Yoli and Xander had sex because they said they didn't want to discuss it in the group when they met up at the group meetup for them to sort of recouple again. And it's like, why? If we're going to hear about Vanessa and Dre, then we need to also hear about Yoli and Xander and hear of everybody's opinion. I think Xander is more sort of calculated than people make her out to be. I think because she's very quiet, people assume that, oh, she's this nice person, she's this nice person. But I think she's very calculated in her actions and everything that she does, because she still says to Yoli, do you want to go to bed? Knowing that they're going to have sex again. And she's just been sitting with Yoli's partner and hearing how Yoli's partner is sort of struggling with this experiment and what they're going through. That didn't make sense to me. They did go on a beach date and they were sort of very distressed on their last night together, saying, I'm going to miss you, will you miss me? Yoli was worried that Vanessa is going to sort of come in and sort of pull Xander back into her sort of claws and sort of make it in such a way that Xander would completely forget about Yoli. I don't even know why they chose to recouple with their old partners. I think they should have just stayed as they were because they seemed happy as they were. And Vanessa is just as calculated as Xander. I think the two of them came into this as a game, just for the publicity. This is the impression that I'm getting. Because as soon as she goes back to Ray, she tells Ray, oh, you know, Lexi was saying you were bragging to her about the fact that we had sex and she made it seem vulgar. It's like, that's not what Lexi said at the table. Lexi was questioning, what is your intention? Ray is someone who's vulnerable, who trusts people a lot, and I don't want you to take advantage of that and get into such a space that she trusts you and then you turn around and you just leave her. That's not fair on her. Did you do it because you loved her, or did you just do it just because of? And she said, well, you know, it just happened. And it's like, this is what Lexi was worried about. This is why she was telling Ray that this person doesn't have your best interest. This is a game to her. And you're just a pawn in her game. She's going to do anything and everything to get herself the publicity that she needs. And that's exactly what she did. And I was very uncomfortable with the meetup with Vanessa's dad. Very uncomfortable. I didn't understand the purpose of that meetup because it didn't seem like a nurturing meetup. It was just like a couple of buddies meeting up and having a conversation about a relationship and sort of seeing where things are going. Because the dad was talking about, oh, marriage should be renewed every 4 years. I didn't quite grasp anything that I can talk about, that I could say this was constructive. As far as I'm concerned, this is a sort of a come up for Vanessa, and she'll do anything and everything just to make sure she gets the spotlight that she wants, and that is exactly what she's doing. And on their final night, they were sort of having a conversation about going back to their exes. And you can see Ray's very anxious because there is this thing that Ray cheated on Lexi. Yes, they were broken up, but it's still she cheated. And Vanessa's not bothered because, as Vanessa said, she's very beautiful, so she always gets what she wants. And so for her, Xander will be waiting for her, and she sets the pace for their relationship. I feel sorry for Ray because she thought she was being smart by coupling up with Vanessa, but she was actually played by someone who came there for publicity. I will say that again, and here she is. Now she might have lost her relationship because of that. Bad decision. Mildred and Aussie was never going to be a relationship that worked, I think, because Mildred is coming from a toxic relationship into a relationship with somebody else that's toxic. Mildred would have benefited from being in a relationship with someone like Mel or someone like Lexi, someone with stability. She's paired up with Aussie. They come back from the meetup. They try to have a conversation about what was discussed at the meetup, and Aussie's already in her feelings. She then storms out and doesn't come back. She comes back, she packs her bags, and off she goes. And it's like, did you really come in this open-minded with the intention of growing, or did you just do this so that you could keep Sam quiet? I think she just thought, okay, Sam wants to do this, let me just go with her. We'll just scale through it, and I'll go back to being my normal self. I think she's very self-centered. I think she's very selfish, Aussie. I think she wants things done at her own pace, and when she doesn't get her way, she throws a tantrum, and that's how I see her. I'm sorry. I was actually pleasantly surprised by Tiff and Sam. Pleasantly surprised because even their communication appears to have improved. Whatever happened with the issue about the dog, they must have turned the corner, and I don't know how they turned the corner, whether the producers intervened and sort of were able to talk to them and get them to a place of unity. Something happened because their communication is amazing. They seem happy to be together. They seem happy to be doing all their sort of tasks that they're supposed to do. They do meet up with Tiff's friend, and Tiff's friend really loves Sam because I think she doesn't like Mildred. She says Mildred and Tiff are always breaking up. They've been to counseling, their counselor fired them. So for her, I think she sees Sam as a positive influence on Tiff. And I think she is a positive influence on Tiff. And she was sort of, the friend was sort of saying to Tiff, have you held hands? Have you had sex? Have you kissed? And Tiff was like, no. You could see that Sam is interested. I wish if nothing else. I'm not saying they should have had sex, but I wish Tiff had been more open right from the start, and I wish she could have benefited a lot from being with Sam, because Sam is more calmer than Mildred. Sam is non-confrontational, although because of this experience with Tiff, she's learned to speak up for herself. She's learned to stand up for herself, which is what this process should do for you. That's the impression that I get. I was so proud of Tiff in her final confessional with Sam that she said she felt safe with Sam. She felt comfortable to be her honest and authentic self. And I liked her little tantrum in bed where she was sort of playing up and stuff. And you could see they're very comfortable with one another, which is what I think they needed. And it's sad that she's going from this peaceful place to suddenly back to the dysfunction that is her relationship with Mildred. So I don't know how Tiff is going to cope with that. And the same can be said for Sam, in the sense that she's had this sort of toxic person and suddenly has been able to sort of help her grow into her best self, and she's suddenly at peace and has this calm person whereby they can sit down, have conversations, and reach an understanding. And now suddenly she has to go back to Aussie, who, as I've said, is self-centered and only cares about herself. That's my opinion. I love Mel, as I've already said, and I love her with Lexi. I think Lexi would be the best partner for her. I know there's an age difference, which I didn't realize, but still I like them as a unit because they are very supportive, and whatever they do, they're always willing to sort of put each other first. So they come from the event and they sort of have a conversation about what's happened in regards to the meeting with the girls, and sort of Lex is still in her feelings because she's very agitated about Vanessa. She's very agitated at the fact that Vanessa seems to relish in what's happened and doesn't seem to realize the effect her actions with Ray have on the rest of the other sort of couples. And I liked the fact that Mel was there just to support her and sort of try and let her understand that yes, she is hurting, but she also needs to understand that she's in another relationship with somebody else, and she also needs to give that relationship a chance to see if anything can come out of it. I loved their meetup with Lexi's mom and dad. I loved how positively they spoke about each other. I love how they spoke love into each other, how they spoke life into each other. At one point, you could see Lexi's dad actually sit back with pride and beaming with pride when Mal was talking about how Lexi supports her in regards to her hair and told her that, I don't understand about your hair, but tell me what you need in order for you to feel safe and in order for you to feel comfortable. And it's like, oh my God. Even the dad, I think at that point, the dad was sold. The mom is still saying she can't turn around like last season in the ultimatum where the mom said, "No, I don't like your previous girlfriend. This is the one that I want." But I think she can actually see that her daughter's fallen in love with Mel, and I think her worry is, has Mel fallen in love with her daughter? Because she said to Mel, "If all I want is for my daughter to be happy, so if my daughter chooses you, we will love you the same way we would love anyone else she brings. So whoever my daughter loves, we will love because we love our daughter and we want our daughter to be happy." And it was just like, my God. You could see the father was impressed. I don't know how Ray can live up to the bar that has been set by Mel, because Mel was amazing. I was a bit upset about Mel's friend that I met up with. I thought she was very dismissive. I think because she's friends with Yoli. I don't know whether she knows what Yoli's been up to, but I didn't like the way she spoke to Lexi. And you could see Mel wasn't comfortable with it and was upset, but didn't want, I think she didn't want to say anything confrontational on camera, but I think she would have pulled her aside later and said to her, "That's not it. You at least show some respect to someone, even if you don't like them, just treat them with respect and kindness, because that's definitely not it." Because you're saying, "Oh, Mel is a very nice person, so people will always take advantage of that." And it's like, Mel might actually be falling in love with Lexi. You never know. So tread cautiously, because what if they do fall in love? What will you do? The changeover was very uncomfortable. I don't know if it's just me, but it was very uncomfortable in the sense that Vanessa tried to make it, in my opinion, about herself. She had this speech prepared out for her. I think the producers helped her with that speech. It didn't sound like an apology. She tried to justify her reasons for being on the show. And then when she realized that Yoli and Xander had become very close, she then sort of turned it on Alexander to sort of say, "Oh, can you tell us whether the two of you were physically intimate?" And when they wouldn't give her an answer, she started playing up, "Oh, well, I and Ray had to speak up for what we did, so you two need to do the same. And besides, I have changed. I now want marriage with you. I now want this." And it's like, it's not about you. It's about the two of you as a couple. And do you still want to stay with me another 3 weeks? And it's like, you're trying to put Xander in a corner for her to say or to commit to you in front of Yoli. And Xander's not going to do that because Xander's in love with Yoli. Even after they had changed over, Vanessa was still trying to get Xander to commit to her and say to her that she doesn't want anything to do with Yoli, because I think she realized that Xander had fallen in love with Yoli and they were busy DMing even though they changed over. And so I don't know how that will play out, given that Mel and Lexi were very close and they really tried to do the right thing and be honorable and not sort of betray their partners, only for their partners to go and cheat on them. Didn't make sense. And I don't know whether, I know Mel eventually found out that Yoli had been having sex with Xander, but I don't know whether she knew that they were still DMing each other, and I don't know how that will play out when she finds out. It's really sad. And you could tell when Lexi, as they said goodbye with Xander, you can tell that they really like each other and they're really trying to sort of be respectful of their partners. But after the changeover, Lexi's meeting with her parents and Ray was very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. And I think the parents could actually see the difference in Lexi's relationship with Ray as compared to Lexi's relationship with Mel. And I don't know what's going to happen, whether they're going to continue to sort of say she needs to stay with Ray, or whether they're just going to tell her, "Do what's best for you." Maybe Mel might be the better person for you if she's open to that, or you might need to find somebody else. I laughed after the changeover when Sammy and um, Aussie were trying to have a conversation, and then Aussie started throwing a fit and saying, "Oh, I need time, and went into a cloakroom or wherever she went, and she started crying. And Sam continued to eat her meal, and then afterwards went to bed and didn't even bother to sort of say, what's going on? Do you want us to have a conversation or anything? You could tell she had set boundaries and she wasn't willing to put up with any more of Sammy's crap, which I really loved. And I was like, oh my God, this is growth for you. This is growth. So I don't know. It was a good episode. I really enjoyed it. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye everyone.